Hey, Dio Pesa for Florida, you judge, and today I'm here with Judicial candidate Danny Alvarez Jr., and he is running in Group 30 for a circuit seat. Thanks for joining me,
Thank
Mr.
you for
Alvarez.
having me. I really appreciate you giving me the time, and I'm happy to be here.
So let's just start off with just introduce yourself and give a little bit of a history of you and your career experience.
Okay, thank you for having me again. My name is Danny Alvarez. I have been a lawyer since 2008. I'm an Army veteran. Before that, I had been a journalist as well as a pharmaceutical sales rep. That's a little bit of my past as far as experience is concerned. I'm a father of 4 children. I have 4 college degrees. One is a bachelor's in journalism and communications. Second is a master's degree in education. Third is my law degree. And then my fourth one is an LLM, is a master's in law. From the University of Miami down in South Florida. That was in tax and estate planning. I served at the University of Tampa for about 8 years as an adjunct professor in business law, and I practiced personal injury, business law, as well as estate planning, bankruptcy, mostly transactional areas, and a lot of contract work for businesses and small businesses. I also do a lot of motivational speaking as well as leadership talks, which has always been a passion of mine, to see other people grow and to try to inspire others to get the best out of them possible. And that's me in a little bit of a nutshell.
2 questions.
Yes.
1, why do you want to be a judge, and why do you think you're qualified?
I think that's a really, really good question. And the answer is really from the deepest part of my heart, it's service. When I served in the Army, I've never had a happier period of time in my life. And why? It's because I was part of a team and I was part of something greater, and I was serving selflessly, meaning I didn't know how much money I made. I didn't know what I was doing the next day. I knew that I had a greater service and a greater mission to help others, and that really fueled me. So when I got out of the Army, I spent years and years searching for that same exact feeling, that fulfillment. So I had a big, big empty void. I thought, let me go to law school. I'll make a lot of money, and then I'll be able to help some people while doing it, and maybe money would help. And money was not satisfying at all. I've made money. It just didn't fill the void. And then I said, well, let me see if maybe I can just drown myself in volunteering and community service that way. And we did a lot of stuff, and we still continue to do a lot of stuff. It's a passion of mine to help other people, and that didn't fill the void. So about 2.5 years ago, Sheriff Chad Chronister found me right about the same spot I am now. I hadn't filed for judge, but I was about to run for judge, and he asked me to come serve with him at the Hillsborough County Sheriff's Office. And when I got there, I jumped at that opportunity. I was thrilled to be there. I was finally home. I was at a place where there was a group of people that put service above self, and that is what I connect to. That's what I am. That's who I really, really am. So I've been there for about 2 years, and I realize, again, it's not enough. I want to do more. I want to be a part of the system that helps others. I want to be a part of the system that literally puts it all on the line and serves. So I can't find any other position to go for other than to be a judge and a judicial candidate in the circuit court. Folks tell me all the time, why don't you run for another position? It seems like you have the personality. And that's a great question, and I really appreciate that. But that's not where I belong. I want to serve. I want to be a part of the system that helps. My parents are both Cuban. They arrived here in 1959 and 61, literally with nothing. And I know that's not an uncommon story. They were refugees. But what we learned from that was that it was the system that helped them. When their system collapsed, it was our system of laws and the respect for individual rights and that respect for humanity. That is what I want to be a part of. And that's how I'm going to give back and how I want to leave my mark.
You know what? I think you're the first candidate in all the candidates that I've interviewed in the 4 or 5 years that I've been doing this, that I like what you just said. You don't want to just make money. You want to make a difference.
I think making a difference. What else do we have? Listen, money is great, but
right.
And we need money to eat. And I'm not trying to act like people don't need money. Everyone needs money. They need to earn a living. I got it. But for me, it's just not where I get my satisfaction. It's not where I get my fulfillment. When I look at my children, I tell them, have you made a difference? Are you going to make an impact? Did you make someone's life better today? And I think if we continuously do that, we're going to leave a better mark on this world. And so I think this is my best way to serve.
I like how you're talking. And so I'm going to follow
Thank
up with
you.
this question, because I also am the daughter of Cuban immigrants who had to flee a country that all of a sudden turned on them and took away their freedoms. Let me ask you, with that experience of you hearing about the hardships that your parents went through in having to do the same thing, leave their country, how has that impacted you as far as how that would help you in being a judge?
Look, the law and the love for the law and the respect for the law has been part of the fabric of my family since we got here. You would think, look, my grandfather had a 6th grade education. My dad was the first person to go to college in our family. You would think that we would think of other things, but no. In a Cuban household of refugees, all we ever talked about was fairness, equality, justice, and what that means to both an individual, a family, and a society. Because if you've been the victims of the collapse of that, or where people don't put your individual rights ahead of those of others, and if you don't put the law in front of everybody else, then really your system collapses and we get that result. And that's not good for anybody. Just be the son of a mother who cries when a song comes on, when her flag is flying, or when the national anthem of Cuba comes on, going, I wish I had my country. She would have her country if the laws were there and if someone had respected those laws and just worked within the system to institute change. That's what we're all about here, protecting the system, preserving it. And I don't think everyone's always going to be happy with my answer. I can't promise you that, but I can promise you this. You'll get fairness. You're going to get the eyes of a man who believes in equality and justice, and that is the best promise I can give you.
And how do you deliver that? Talk to me about patience and demeanor.
Well, here's the thing. If you're from the street and you understand, you came and you grew up wondering where your next meal might come from because your parents were scraping together to earn a living, well, then that gives you an experience base. And I think that many people forget when they go to law school and then they've been in this world for a long time, they forget what it's like to be the little person. Well, I've never forgotten that. So I want to be able to relate to the people that come in front of me and understand that nothing is black and white. We aren't going to arrest our way out of all of our problems. We're not going to incarcerate our way out of problems, but we also have to hold people accountable for their actions. I understand that, but you have to have some sort of common sense decency to relate to the person that's in front of you and understand that life isn't black and white. And I think that's what judges are supposed to do. They're supposed to go into the gray and understand that it isn't always black and white. And I think that's important.
Do you think that there should be more compassion?
How can you be a judge without compassion? If you have no compassion, then really, in my opinion, you're in the wrong business. Compassion isn't. You can still be compassionate and enforce the law. Those are not mutually exclusive. And to think that they are, I think, is going down the wrong path. You have to have compassion and empathy for the people in front of you. We practice law all the time. For us, elements of law, all that stuff makes sense. To the person that's coming in front of you that maybe was taken for a ride on a contract, that's their whole life. And that's important to them. So I've been in cases before where folks might blow off the significance of a $150 lawsuit for that individual in a small claims court. Well, it might not be important to us, but it's that person's life, and maybe it's the principle of it, which is why they've pursued that lawsuit. So understanding and compassion is really, really important, and the judges I admire the most are the ones that lead with that.
What about the time to be fairly and given sufficient time to be heard, and not just rush through the system because you're just a number on a docket?
Look, we all know that the courts are overworked, and I don't blame folks for judges that are there for trying to rush the procedure. I get it. But you can never, ever forget that is that person's time. This is very, very important. And to get in front of you, it took a long time to get there. So, giving someone their due time, giving someone their ability to be heard, sometimes that's all what people want. They understand that maybe they have a very slim chance of coming out ahead in that case, but they just need to be heard, and I think everyone should get heard.
Could the system be improved at all?
I think that any system is imperfect because it's run by people. So Is there room for improvement? Absolutely. And if you stop trying to improve a system, then you're actually going backwards and you're not going forward. The greatness of our system is that we have really good people in it, and they're trying to move the ball forward. I think that any system can improve, and are we infallible? Absolutely not.
Thank you so much for joining me today to have the voter listen to you and get better familiarized with you and your candidacy. I'm going to give you a couple of minutes so that you can have some last words for the viewers.
Thank you very much. And to all the viewers, I say thank you for this opportunity. If you ever see me out on the street, please come up to me and say hello and let me hear your story. That's really what we're here for. This is the people's seat. This isn't a judge's seat. This isn't a lawyer's seat. You know, people talk about politics today's day and age. It's all about raising funds and how to get to that seat that way. The reality is this is going to be one handshake, one introduction, one meeting at a time. So I want to get out there. I'm excited by this opportunity. I can't even believe I'm here just because I've been waiting for this for so long. I'm excited to serve, and I'm glad to be here. Thank you for the opportunity, and I hope to meet every one of you.
Where can they visit online to get more information about you?
The website is www.electdannyalvarez.com, and we love any opinions. And if you want to learn more or keep up with us, just join the team and then say you want some emails or you wanted some signs, or even if you want to volunteer, I'd be honored to have you.
Again, thank you so much for joining me. Haiti Oropesa for Florida U Judge. Thank you for joining. Till next time.